Scruff was my dad's dog. My dad passed away, and we inherited Scruff. Charlie, how did you feel about having Scruff fall into our lap the way he did?
To be honest, I'd never been much of a pet person, and from what I had known of Scruff when we had visited your dad, he was like this big dark beast that lived in the house, and he was always jumping up on the counters and getting into the trash and also marking all over the house. And in the beginning, I tried very hard to accept him and be okay with it, but very quickly after kind of the dust settled we picked him up from the boarding place and we had him at home, I started to feel like he was becoming a chore or a nuisance because he was getting into the trash, and he's very energetic, and even at 8 years old, you can take him on a 4-mile run or a 5-mile run, and the next day he'll be ready for another 4 or 5-mile run. So the workload to care for the dog and kind of the nuisance issues, it really started to put me in a bad mental state. And when I thought about Scruff, I guess I viewed him as a chore. I wouldn't say I hated him, but I disliked having him around sometimes, and he really got on my nerves.
Yeah. So in June, there was an accident with Scruff. Can you recount the story of the accident?
So, yeah, the first week of June, I was home here in Missoula, and you were away finishing your Montana dietetics internship. There was a day I got invited by some new acquaintances to go rock climbing. I met these friends, their names were Josh and Caitlin, at Kootenai Canyon at the trailhead, and we went up the trail. It's maybe half a mile to the place where we're going to rock climb. Scruff was with us, and he was off leash so that he could run and get exercise. And there was one other dog with us. It was Caitlin's dog. And we got to the bottom of the cliff, and Josh decided, well, he's going to take a rope to the top of the cliff and set up what we call a top rope. And Caitlin and I were standing there, and we looked down and realized he hadn't taken the rope. I picked up the climbing rope and started walking up this trail. I thought I saw this shadow of Scruff running ahead of me up the trail. I turned and called his name into the woods, and then I looked down the trail and started walking back down the trail, and Caitlin called up to me, "Oh yeah, your dog's down here." Just kept walking down to the bottom of the cliff. Caitlin was standing there with her dog, but Scruff wasn't there. I looked at Caitlin and I said, oh, where is my dog? And she just kind of pointed with her hand while looking at me towards the rock. Then she just said, "He came from there." And I said, "Are you saying the dog fell off the cliff?" And it is sheer and vertical. There's no way his fall would have been broken. He just apparently fell off the top of this cliff through the air and landed on his side a full 60 feet. We searched, it felt like 15 minutes, but it was probably 3 minutes, and I kind of looked over to the right. There was Scruff. He was just standing there on the trail holding up one paw, his front left paw, and he was just kind of shaking. I got Scruff to my car, and I knew I needed to get to a vet hospital. I took Scruff in, and the doctors, they went to work, and the doctor comes back out and says they did an x-ray, and he had no broken bones. It was just this miraculous thing. He had no broken bones, no real injuries other than the cut on his head. He had bruising in his lungs.
Since the accident, how did your feelings about Scruff change?
I think what I realized about Scruff is that he has feelings. Seeing him be happy is more important to me than it was ever before.